Yo, what's up, family? Yo, you know, every now and then I gotta do the sports videos, boxing or whatever. Love boxing. But watch this one. I got a little different way of thinking on this one today. We're gonna do this one. We're gonna title this one Sports Fights and Knockouts. Because there is a difference, whether you know it or not. There is a difference of a knockout and a chokeout. You ever thought about that? So if you watch boxing, UFC, MMA, all those type of fighting events, right? There is a difference. Sometimes we see a fighter, hit a person, right? That joker's knocked out. And what's the definition of a knockout? It is when a person is unconscious. They no longer responsive, you know? And that's the importance why I did that video back in the days called The Importance. A referee job is important. Check it out again, I'm telling you. It is important for that referee to determine what everybody else might not be able to determine. He up close and personal, he can see, oh, I gotta stop this, right? So the definition of a knockout is when a person is unconscious and can't respond, right? And sometimes, yes, a knockout could be a body blow. Roy Jones and Mike Tyson was known for giving people that body blow, right? And they could no longer respond. Now, they're not knocked out in the sense of sleep, but they knocked out in the sense of they can't perform. They can't react. That's a KO. But here's the difference. There is an extreme difference of a knockout and a chokeout when we see these fights, right? So remember, like I said, a knockout, when a person is no longer responding, for the most part, a knockout, other than a body shot, for the most part, a knockout is when a person has been hit, bow, in most cases, a headshot, and they are unresponsive, they out. But a chokeout deals with this circulatory system. Because in order to choke out, if you had to define it, you would say a knockout deals with a concussion. And what is a concussion? A concussion is damage and some form of trauma to the head, for the most part. Whereas a chokeout is dealing with your circulatory system. When a person chokes you out, that's your circulatory system. Now, if you're dealing with your circulatory system, think about it. That means in a chokeout, a person grabs you for the most part up under the throat, right? And they choke the person out, right? And what is that doing? That is cutting off your internal carotid artery. That is one of your main arteries that travels blood from the heart to the brain. Obviously, the brain needs oxygen as well. But when you have a chokeout, you're cutting off the blood and the oxygen from the heart to the brain. And we all know, we took CPR, some of us not. You got about 4 to 6 minutes before you are done. And when I mean done, I mean whatever. Try to put the right music. You know, like flatline. That's why the referee is so important to be there, to prevent that. A lot of us love to go, oh man, he could have kept going. Let me tell you something else about circulatory. See, circulatory, like I said, when someone do a choke out, you are cutting off air and blood from the heart to the brain, and that's going to be damaging. A better way for me to put it to you, follow me. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Follow me. A better way for me to put it to you would be, let's say a water hose. We're all familiar with that, right? Your water hose, right? We all know what happens when you cut on your water hose, right? This is dealing with a choke out, right? A choke out / it means that is your circulatory system. Now, we're all too familiar when you're running the water, right? We're familiar with this. This is your blood flow in your body. And what happens when someone chokes you out? When you run in the water, right? We all have to do this sometimes, right? Crimp it, right? And what happens when you crimp it? See? You tend to lessen the blood flow. And if you crimp it really good, you stop it all together, right? You stop it all. Right, let me get a good stop here so you get what I'm saying. This is a rope. So you stop it all together. And that is a person that has been choked out. And every now and then we see a fighter who gets choked out, and then the referee stops the fight, right? Because he's not got right blood flow. And then all of a sudden the fight has been stopped. And then he gets the fighter off of the other fighter. He gets him off, right? He gets him off. And the moment he gets him off, And now that fighter that's been choked out for that brief, quick second, all of a sudden he comes back and he's like, hey, now he want to fight the referee or anybody because he's delusional. See, it's no different than when you cut that water back on. It bursts out. So what happens with that fighter is that the moment the referee stops it, it takes him a second or two, but when he come back to, he's like, yeah, come on, man, I'm ready to fight, I'm ready. And they like, yo, the fight is over. You was gone. See, and that's what some of these fighters don't get. You was gone, man. And then he think, man, they did me wrong, man. They stopped the fight early. No, you was out. It is very important for that referee to be there because, yo, if we leave it up to a naive fighter, they're going to keep fighting, not realizing just how important and vital the circulatory system is. Because if you cut this off long enough, the blood flow and the airflow from the brain from the heart to the brain, you could cause serious damage, even death. And we don't want that. That's why that referee is so important. So remember, there is a major difference of a choke out and a knockout. A choke out is dealing with your circulatory system. And a knockout is damage or some form of trauma to the brain. How many times we even seen a fight where a joker get knocked out? Bah! Right? And we see the fighter down. He be knocked out on the floor and he still be punching. See? His circulatory system is still working. He just had trauma to the brain, but he's still punching. You be like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? He's asleep and he don't even realize he's punching. Or a guy be knocked out in wrestling, he's knocked out, and he's still grabbing. He don't even realize he's asleep, he's grabbing. The referee or anybody, he don't realize it.
So I have a question.
Sure.
For a fighter that does this for fighting for too long, in the long run, I mean, at the moment it doesn't take effect, but doesn't it down the line, they get very badly,
Are you talking about like
they
the
start
Muhammad Ali type
affected?
stuff?
Yeah, don't they start getting the side
It
effects?
could happen. They have a lot of people love to say that about Ali. He was like, he was having too much damage to the brain. How true is that? I don't know. I don't know. No one really can know. They were saying, he boxed too long, too much damage to the brain. But that's a good question. It's possible. A lot of people got all kind of trauma to the brain, and years later it affects you. It's like a drug addict, an alcoholic. That stuff come back and affect you many years later. It's a lot that we could tolerate when we're young and vibrant, but when we get older, all those past negative things we did come back to haunt you. So ultimately, what this video is about, like I said, sports, fights, knockouts, and chokeouts. Remember, a knockout, if I had to give a definition, I would say a knockout is predominantly, even though Roy Jones and Mike Tyson knocked plenty of people out with the rib shots, but a knockout is predominantly trauma to the brain, some form of damage or trauma to the brain, making a person temporarily headaches, unconscious, dizziness, loss of normal functions of their body. They're knocked out. They're asleep. They're out for the moment. That's mostly what a knockout would be. Whereas a concussion would deal with your circulatory system, where you're cutting off air and blood flow from the brain to from the heart to the brain. And that's why the referee is very vital to be there to say, hey, that's enough. Because if you cut that oxygen and blood flow off long enough, you could cause somebody to go into cardiac arrest. You even can cause death, and we don't want that. We like a good fight, but we love to see the fighters when after whoever win and lose, you live to see another fight another day. Man, glad everybody left healthy. We glad everybody's good to go. It was a good fight. This one won, this one lost, but it was a good fight. Everybody healthy, still can see their family, everything's great. That's what you want. But just remember, like I told you with the water hose, a chokeout will be something like that would make sense, if that makes better sense. When you close that hose off, how the water stops, that's your blood flow. And when you choking somebody out, that's actually what's happening. You stopping their oxygen in their blood, and then they go into, they go limp. Sometimes we seen some chokeouts where we like, whoa, that looks scary, man. That joke. Remember John Jones choked out the old boy? He looked like a limp noodle. It was like, yo, that looked scary. Total consciousness. Because his circulatory system was cut off. And the ref had to stop it real quick before it gets worse. Little educational one for you today. and with the sports. Peace.